Hey everyone, thank you for tuning into Team Forbidden's YouTube page again. It is Andrew the Collector here with a new deck of Scareclaw. The new format has officially started with the new ban list, and I figured that one of the decks I can give you that I think will be a pretty underrated deck is going to be Scareclaw. So yeah, the Scareclaw, the variant that I'm doing is the going second. It's the pure one. I'm not really putting in any other engines in this other than the Kashtira one. But yeah, I think this deck is really underrated. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. So the main core of the deck is going to be Scareclaw Akor, Scareclaw Bellon, and Scareclaw Astar. The main strategy of Scareclaw is that you can special summon these cards from your hand in the main monster zone, adjacent to another Scareclaw monster that you control, or in the same column. So basically, if you control a Scareclaw monster, you can either summon it below it or to either side of it. And those are inherent summons; they're not effects. And each of these Scareclaw monsters has their own individual effects. Astar's effect is that a Scareclaw monster in your extra monster zone can attack a number of times each battle phase up to the number of defense monsters that you control with different names. Bellon's effect is that it allows it to inflict piercing damage. And Akor is effect gains 300 attack for each defense monster that you control. And that attack boost does stack. We'll get into why that is relevant when we get into this deck's boss monster. But you really want to run 3 of these, no less. It is absolutely imperative. And the next Scareclaw monster is going to be Scareclaw Reinhardt. Same effect, you can special summon this card adjacent to a Scareclaw monster that you control. And if this card is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 Scareclaw spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Then if 3 or more defense monsters are on the field, you can draw 1 card. Definitely want to run at least 3 of these, along with 1 Visa Star Frost, just to get extra bodies on board, as well as to go into your level 10 Synchro Monster. The next package that we have is going to be the Kashtira one. So we have 3 Kashtira Fenrir and 2 Scareclaw Kashtira. We run this one mainly because of its by its name. You guys all know what Kashtira Fenrir is. You want to run no less than 3 of it. Scareclaw Kashtira's effect is that during the main phase quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand by banishing it, and then if you do, banish a Kashtira or Scareclaw card from your hand or graveyard. This card can attack while in defense position. Again, we'll get into why that's relevant when we get into the boss monster. And you apply the defense, this card's defense, to the battle calculation instead of its attack. And if a Kashtira or Scareclaw monster battles an opponent's monster, that opponent's monster's effects are negated until the end of the turn. So really good. Yeah, definitely want to run this package. Next, we're going to run 3 Ash Blossom. It's Ash Blossom. I don't really know why you wouldn't want to run Ash Blossom. It's still good in this format. And since we are running the going second, I am having 1 Dino Wrestler Pankratops and 2 Gadarla, the Mystery Dust Kaiju. You can honestly run any Kaiju that you want, as long as it's not the Thunder Kaiju because it is too strong. But this one, it's fine. That's it for the spell. That's it for the monsters. Now off into the spells. I am running 3 Primitive Planet. I don't even know how to pronounce this card's last name. And then 1 Terraforming to go into it. I am missing a 3rd one, so I'm running a proxy here. But you want to run 3. Or what you can do, since you are running the Kashtiras, you can run 2 of these and 1 of the Kashtira field spell if you do have it. But for this particular build, I'm opting to run 3 of the Primitive Planet. When this card is activated, you can add 1 Scareclaw monster or Visa Starfrost from your deck to your hand. Monsters your opponent controls loses 1,000 attack for each defense monster on the field. And if 3 or more defense monsters are on the field, once per turn, you can target 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it. Really good field spell for this deck. Definitely don't want to run any less than 3 if you're going for the pure build. And then 2 Scareclaw Arrival. It's a not once per turn Monster Reborn for Scareclaw monsters, and if a Scareclaw monster you control would be destroyed by battle or by card effects, banish this card from your graveyard instead. So good battle protection and destruction protection too. Speaking of protection, I have one Scareclaw Defanging. Your opponent cannot target Scareclaw and Link monsters or piece of Starfrost you control with card effects. Also, they cannot be destroyed by card effects. Again, more protection for your boss monster. And banish any number and banish any monster destroyed by battle with the Scareclaw Link monster. And once per turn, you can banish one Scareclaw Link monster from your graveyard to target one card your opponent controls and destroy it. So again, like the field spell, it's good spot removal, and it adds on good protection from impermanence or Regeki or anything like that. And like I said, since we are going second, 2 triple tactics talent, 1 change of heart, and 1 mind control to get into your big boss monster. 1 call by the grave, or as we like to call it here, Begone Demon Child, and 1 Harpy's Feather Duster because back row is actually one of the things that we do not like in this deck. Off to the traps, we have 3 Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence, going second, it's really good. 1 Scareclaw Skulch, I hope that's how you pronounce it. Once per turn, you can target 1 Scareclaw monster or piece of Starfrost you control. It can attack while face-up defense this turn. That's not really too relevant. If it does, apply the defense to its attack or defense, whichever is higher to the damage calculation. We mainly use this for its second effect. When your opponent activates a card or effect while you control a Scareclaw monster, you can a monster in your extra monster zone, you can send this card to the graveyard and negate that effect. So basically, you do this just to get to do more interruptions for spot negation. And 1 Scareclaw Twin Saw, it's basically Icarus attack for Scareclaws. And its second effect is that if a Link 3 or higher monster on the field is banished from it, it is on the field, you can banish this card from your graveyard. For the rest of this turn, neither player can activate the effects of Link monsters on the field. So really good if you're going against a Link heavy board. And that is it for the main deck. Let's go into the extra deck. Everything that you are building up for in this deck is for Scareclaw Triheart. It requires 3 effect monsters and must be Link summoned. All face-up monsters on the field are changed to defense position, and this card is unaffected by the effects of defense position monsters. So that is where all the fuss comes in with all of your Scareclaw monsters being in defense, basically. And its effect once per turn is that if this card is in the extra monster zone, you can target 1 level 3 Scareclaw monster in your graveyard, special summon it, and add 1 Scareclaw monster from your deck to your hand. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn except Scareclaw monsters. So basically, the whole gist of this is that if you have one of this in your extra monster zone and you get other monsters in defense position, because he does put it in defense, it gains an attack boost, it does piercing damage, and it can attack multiple times. Plus, it's unaffected by monster effects that are in defense. As well as if you have Skulch face up on the field, along with Defang, you have an effect negation and target and destruction protection from your opponent's spells and traps. So this is basically the board that you want to end on, and it's actually really easy to get to it. That's one thing I really like about this deck, is that it's pretty user-friendly, as long as you get some good practice in it, like any other basic deck. And the next 3 that you want are Scareclaw Lightheart. It's 1 Scareclaw monster or Visa Starfrost, and if this card is Link summoned, you can only use use monsters in the main monster zone as material. If this card is Link summoned into your extra monster zone, you can add the primitive plant field spell from your deck to your hand. And if you control Visa Starfrost, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. And that searching of the field spell is not once per turn, so if this somehow gets negated and destroyed, if you have another Scareclaw monster, you just Link summon into it again, and you can still search for it. So these are the three most important cards in your extra deck. You definitely want to run no less than 3 of them. Then for the rest of the extra deck, we have 1 Linkuriboh for the I block. So sorry, Linkuriboh, you are going to be missed. 1 Nightmare Phoenix and one Nightmare Unicorn for the generic Link monsters. Then for the Xyz, we have 1 Phantom Knight of Break Sword, 1 Time Thief Redoer, and 1 AA Zeus for the Time Thief Redoer building. Just kind of as a plan B. And for our Synchro, we have the 1 Sword Soul Supreme Sovereign. This is kind of a placeholder because Baron did get banned, which I'm not sad about. But I am having this here as a placeholder until I find a better generic level 10 Synchro monster to put in here. But this still works just as well, even though that you don't do much banishing. It's more of just a good body to go into. And depending on which deck that you go up against, this can be an easy win condition. And for our Super Poly targets, Mudragon and Garura. You know, just for the boards that you really can't get over. Now off into the side deck. This is subject to change depending on how the format goes. But for right now, I have 2 Nibiru, 2 Book of the Eclipse, 2 Herald of the Abyss for the Purely, since Purely is starting to come back, 2 Super Polys, 3 Dimensional Barrier, 3 Evenly Matched, and 1 Anti-Spell because it was put at 1. And like I said, we don't really like back row or anything of the sort. And that is it for the Scareclaw deck. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see any other profiles or videos, please be sure to comment down below. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell down below for notifications. And if you want to help keep the channel going, consider becoming a YouTube member and hit the join button at the bottom. And until then, we will catch you guys in the next one.